Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another press conference here as part of the Grand Prix of Houston. And welcome to everyone listening and viewing as well on roadtoindy.tv. We have a very important press release that we have here today, a conference to announce something new with the Andersen Promotions Group and the Mazda Road to Indy. I want to welcome everyone here. My name is Rob Howden, and I am the series announcer and the voice of the Mazda Road to Indy. Last month at the Indy 500, we had a very exciting announcement there as well, where we unveiled the new Dallara IL-15 Indy car, which will make its debut next season. We do have that car in the Pro Mazda paddock if anybody wants to go over and check it out. It's just past the Verizon IndyCar Series trailers. But today we have a very exciting announcement, essentially from the other end of the Mazda Road to Indy. This is more about the grassroots of the sport and the very first rung of the Road to Indy. Today we're joined by Dane Andersen, the owner and CEO of Andersen Promotions, and as well Richard Boisclair, the president of the Max Speed Group, the promoters of the Rotax Max Challenge, which is a nationwide and actually worldwide professional karting series. Before we kind of dive into the announcement here, we do have the car in front of us. I'll give you a bit of a background on Rotax. It really is the largest karting program in the entire world right now. Really, probably the biggest in any form of motorsports. Over 15,000 drivers run Rotax around the world, and that's right, 15,000 drivers run, and they all try to qualify to be part of the World Championship event, which we call the Rotax Grand Finals. The U.S. arm of Rotax is actually administered by Richard and his team, and it has 21 divisions throughout the country, 4 in the state of Texas alone. Last year, in the largest field ever, 281 of the world's best Rotax drivers represented 60 nations at NOLA Motorsports Park in New Orleans for the Rotax Max Challenge Grand Finals. It was an unbelievable event, and we actually had our very first U.S. winner as well of a World Championship. It was fantastic to watch that happen. This year, the race will actually take place in Valencia, Spain. As some of you may know, I operate ekartingnews.com. I'm the editor and publisher of that site, so I get a chance to go to a lot of the Rotax events. I was the announcer at last year's Grand Finals, and I've been the announcer at the U.S. Grand Nationals on several occasions as well. So for myself personally, I know so many people in the sport of karting, this is a very huge announcement. We're very excited about this connection. So folks, we'll get this underway, and without further ado, I want to introduce you to Mr. Dan Andersen.
Thank you, Rob. And Rob is the voice of the Mazda Road to Indy and a strong voice in karting nationwide as well. Thank you for all you do. Back in 2010, a few years back, at the encouragement of IndyCar, my organization, Andersen Promotions, was asked to resurrect the USF 2000 Championship Series, which had ended a 16-year run in 2006. We did that with support from IndyCar. They were very concerned about grassroots racing and feeding and training drivers up into IndyCar, and we took on that critical first step, which USF 2000 is. That series has now grown and is operating very smoothly. We have quite a few young guns racing in USF 2000, as young as 14 years old, and they progress up a ladder that involves 3 steps. USF 2000 feeds into Pro Mazda as the intermediary step, and then those drivers that attain higher results move into Indy Lights. It's a great ladder, unlike anything in the world. We're proud to be involved in all 3 steps now as a result of some changes and some more encouragement from IndyCar. They seem to be good at encouraging us to get involved in more steps. But today we're excited to announce a new partnership that feeds right into the Mazda Road to Indy. The Rotax series is a fantastic program. Richard and his staff have done wonderful work nationwide in growing this entire network of race divisions and series, what have you. And we are completely honored and proud to be affiliated with them. A lot of drivers have come out of karting and are racing today and tomorrow in IndyCar, and it is an absolutely perfect place to begin a career, see what you've got, and then if you have the talent and the aspirations, you move into the Mazda Road to Indy. So the linkage for us is critically important. We're very proud to be involved with Richard's group. As part of the partnership, Mazda Road to Indy will gain significant exposure in the karting ranks, and we are thrilled to help further introduce the ladder series with 4 one-day tests in USF 2000 to 4 drivers that a panel will select from the Rotax ranks, and they'll do individual one-day tests sometime in the off-season to give them an experience in USF 2000, to display their talents to some of our USF 2000 team owners, and to hopefully get them started on that very important first rung of the ladder. So it's a great partnership. They will expose our operations to the karting ranks. We will help train their karters who have those career aspirations to climb the ladder. And as I said, we're very excited to be here today. Thank you, Rob.
Dan, thank you very much. I think it's important to note that when we talk about the Mazda Road to Indy, obviously with the 3 levels that we do have in USF 2000, Pro Mazda, and Indy Lights, while we say karting as an individual idea or concept or community, really it has its own levels as well. We have club karting, regional karting, and national level karting, and the Rotax program is involved in all those levels. So when it's kind of interesting to see that the Road to Indy is actually maybe delved down to grab a hold of one thing, really we've extended the ladder and the promotion and the understanding of the sport and the series to actually 3 more levels. Drivers all the way down in club karting, guys that just run every Saturday regionally, and then the 200 plus drivers who run at the very top level, the national seat at that level that is doing such a great job. Now Richard and his crew took over 2011, and they very quickly grew the program exponentially. As we said, at the U.S. Grand Nationals every year, and they've done a fantastic step, Richard, for you guys moving your way forward, obviously growing the program, a monumental undertaking in New Orleans. This year that's not on your plate, so you're allowed to maybe move forward a little more and do some new things. Tell me how this partnership between yourself and the Andersen Promotions Group and Mazda, the Mazda Road to Indy, how did this come to fruition?
Well, first of all, I want to thank Dan Andersen and Michelle Kish for their support and their trust in our program. It all started, and I'm not sure exactly how it started, but Michelle and I started talking a while ago. Michelle's husband is also a dealer of ours, Service Center, so he does work with us. And we started talking about how we can integrate into the Mazda Road to Indy. And right away I found out extremely appealing because we feel that we are an extremely professional operation, and there's nothing more professional. Historically in our industry, a feeder series to, therefore, you know, it's hard to make associations. To road racing, we should offer. It all started with in the past November. Well, we had Rob in different countries, so Road to Indy. So we are the largest racing motorsports. We have 15,000 people fighting all year round to make it to the green at the end of November, and hopefully we can make this.
Thank you, Richard. I'm impressed to work your way through the Mazda Road to Indy paddock, and it's exciting to see that so many of them always go back and go racing as well. James Hinchcliffe has been running in the off-season in the Florida Winter Tour, which is a major Rotax, a Sodi Kart DD2 Rotax in Las Vegas, a major event.
It's actually this one, Rob.
That's the actual. This is the car. This is the Rotax DD2, 2-speed. Fantastic racing machine, 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds, so you can see the levels of training. I do want to thank both the gentlemen here, but we will open the floor to questions if anybody does have any questions right now. We have a microphone we'll pass around here, and a couple questions for Dan and Richard. Please.
Dan, Richard, John Link with More Front Wing. I know it's early on in the process, but can y'all talk a little bit about, do y'all know who the panel is going to be made up of yet, and kind of how that selection process will work to award those tests?
We're actually having a meeting right after this. We've
not selected yet.
Yeah, we haven't selected, but we have some good ideas on how where we want to take this.
There'll be industry people who have a good eye and experience in both karting and in the open wheel. So people that'll know talent when they see it.
Hi there, Louise Noah with Landspeed Productions. I realize you've got this scholarship-funded path. Can you give us some numbers about these scholarship fundings?
Dan, I think she's talking about the whole Mazda Road to Indy. Some numbers would be what, the USF 2000 driver moving to Pro Mazda?
The USF 2000 champion is awarded a full season funding for the following season in Pro Mazda. The Pro Mazda champion is awarded full season funding for the subsequent year in Indy Lights. The Indy Lights champion, starting next year, will be awarded a 3-race IndyCar deal, including the Indy 500. I can. It's, I would say Well, actually, the scholarships start with a $200,000 award from Mazda to get into the USF 2000 series. Currently, that's with the Skip Barber organization, and it will probably continue that way. I'm not positive of the timing of that relationship, but we get a driver funded by Mazda into USF 2000 for $200,000. We then fund, I believe it's $325,000 from Mazda, and we supplement that with Cooper tires and entry fees. So I'd say the package into Pro Mazda is about $375,000. The package into Indy Lights is about $550,000, and the award into IndyCar is probably going to be about $1 million. Yeah, it's actually working. You have drivers like Matthew Brabham, who is currently in Indy Lights. He won the USF 2000 championship in his rookie year, funded himself up the ladder, won Pro Mazda the next year, and funded himself into Indy Lights. And he's doing quite well in Indy Lights. He's finding it a little more challenging in Indy Lights, but Sage Karam came through all 3 levels. Zach Beach came through all 3 levels. I mean, it's working.
Additional questions? Patrick? We welcome everyone to come up and take a look at the card as well, or talk to both Richard or Dan afterwards as well.
Richard and Dan, just a little more clarity on the Ford, the program. The 4 drivers, is it selected from the Grand Finals or from the season, or how are you going to choose those drivers? And is it American driver focused, or is it just drivers racing in America?
It's mainly American focused. We want them to submit their. We're not going to look for winners of particular races. We want them to submit their bio and to submit their resume to the panel, and then that's how we would select for the winners of the 4 days.
It's dependent a little bit on their aspirations and their age, frankly. I mean, if a top karter is 12 years old, we can't take him. I mean, we do have some age restrictions with licensing, but we want to find people that have the talent, the desire, and you know, want to be in the Mazda Road to Indy. So it'll be top guys, but not necessarily the top 4.
Additional questions from the media? How many girls? Actually, you know what? There's not a lot. There's a couple girls in the Road to Indy right now, but there's a ton in Rotax racing. I think there was, at the World Finals, Grand Finals rather, I want to say there was 16 or 17 girls out of the 288, which is pretty solid. And we actually had, I think last year, the Grand Nationals champion, one of the Grand Nationals champion was a girl named Ashley Rojero from Florida. So we've actually had female champions in the program as well.
Pan American champion.
Yeah, Pan American champion as well, yeah. Well, folks, thank you very much. We appreciate you letting us take your time and kind of interrupt you while you're trying to get your work done. Thank you so much. And again, Dan and Richard will be here for questions, and you can come and have a look at the go-kart as well if you'd like. Thanks again.
Thank you.